This episode of Building You is brought to you by PageFlip. Your digital catalog is available on Promo Pages, a digital database for distributors to create fully customizable catalogs that they can send to their clients. Contact sales at promocorner.com.
Thank you, Promo Corner, for allowing this type of series to go out there. I am so pumped and so excited, and I truly hope that what I bring to you guys can impact your life in a positive way. My whole professional career has been focused on empowering other people, whether that be through helping them to look and feel their best or giving them business strategies and tools to be able to make their path of professionalism more successful. The tagline for MOSO Method is developing people, transforming business. Business could be anything from running a multi-million-dollar international company to organizing your family to just run smoothly every single day. Business is life. And if we develop ourselves, everything else around us is going to benefit. So that's what Building You is. The Building You series is Building You. So why are you here? Well, you're here for probably one of three reasons. The first reason is you saw the title Building You and you thought, I know what that means. I'm dedicated to working on myself and personal development. I'm going to tune in and kind of see what she has to say. And that's awesome. The second possible reason is that you were intrigued. You're like, Building You sounds cool. Let me see what that's all about. My hope is that your intrigue leads to interest and you stick around. And then the third reason is that maybe you saw the awesome logo that Jess prepared for me. Thank you so much. She's awesome from Promo Corner. And you thought, I've got nothing else to do. I'm a little bit bored. I may as well tune in. I don't care why you're here. I'm so thrilled and honored. And I hope that what I bring you makes a difference. Some information that you'll hear on this series is something you've probably known already, something that's possibly in the recesses of your brain that we just need to kind of uncover and bring back to now. Many times we hear things that is really good information, but we're not quite ready for it. And then the timing gets right. And it's like we're hearing it for the very first time. So I don't think I'm bringing you information that you haven't heard. But if I have, awesome. If you've heard it in the past, maybe now is the time that is going to benefit your future. The challenge is that there is no easy time to make changes in our lives, even if it's as simple as sounding like focusing on yourselves. But the question turns into, how do you eat an elephant? We all know the answer, one bite at a time. So every month, we're going to focus on one lesson that you can incorporate into your life, practice, and then it's going to become habit to benefit you. So today's topic, as Brendan mentioned, is gratitude. I am so grateful to be here. So to me, that was the most logical thing to talk about, gratitude and how it actually affects our lives. Just by incorporating it into our life, putting it into practice on a regular basis, can change not only our personal life, but it can change our professional life. It actually changes our body chemistry and our physiology so that we are happier people. We feel better, which is awesome. So the misconception about gratitude is that if somebody is happy, they're grateful, they're thankful, they have joy. But let's talk about what makes us happy. What makes you happy? What it is that when we receive something that we perceive has value, whether that be an actual tangible gift, or it be something that, maybe for you, a beautiful flower just moves you and you're grateful for that. But the misconception is that people that have things are grateful. So let me ask you the question. Have you ever known anybody that seems to have everything, but they don't appreciate it? Let's talk about kids. Well, kids are notorious for wanting more, right? their brain is actually triggered that once they have something, it becomes part of their routine. So they're looking for the next thing. So let's take children out of the mix. But let's talk about adults. Do you know anybody that seems to have the perfect house, the perfect job, all the toys that they could possibly have, but they still don't seem appreciative of what they have? How about even a colleague that seems to get all the support, all the good accounts? They seem to be making plenty of money, but they just want more. They expect more. You have to appreciate what you have before you should expect more. I think that's a proverb. So what we want to do is focus on how to bring gratitude into our lives so that we can appreciate what we have and recognize that we can go after more things because it's fair. Sometimes, however, it's hard to be grateful, isn't it? Sometimes we encounter hard times. Maybe you've been having a challenge at work. Maybe you've been reprimanded. Maybe things are harder than you expected. But in order to find that silver lining, what we're trying to do is find the positive versus the negative in things. And what we could be thankful for is the lessons that we needed for our development. Sometimes we don't grow ourselves because we don't think we need to. But if we are open-minded and have an open heart enough to realize that when somebody is guiding us in a direction because we're not exactly on the right path, that is our opportunity for growth. So we can be thankful for that opportunity to work towards creating ourselves in a better way. How about thank you for the hard times for helping me appreciate the good times more? Now, I know for a fact that I have fallen victim to just habit and, thinking that everything is as it should be, as opposed to when something happens, realizing how good I had it. I think that this COVID situation really helps us to realize how good life was, right? We've been so restricted. We have to wear masks. We couldn't go outside. These are things that we took for granted. But if we were aware enough to appreciate what we had, sometimes this COVID thing, we can look at it as an opportunity to now appreciate everything that comes back that we're able to do. I think about the extra weight that I'm carrying right now, and I think, thank you for the extra weight because I'm going to be warmer this winter. You can always find a silver lining if you look hard enough. So another one that a saying that I heard once was, thank God for unanswered prayers. At the time, I didn't understand it. But have you ever been in a situation, maybe a relationship ended and you were just devastated? But after you found the right person, you're so grateful that didn't work out. Sometimes we just have to have faith in the lessons that we don't fail. We either win or we grow. There is no failure. So this is an opportunity for us to recognize that by being aware of what we should be thankful for, we can bring happiness into our lives. So all this means is we have to change our perspective. And when we think about perspective, we think about it's just a matter of looking at something from a different angle. And I want you to start by looking at yourself. Are you grateful for being here? Do you ever think, I'm so lucky to be alive? If you do, that's wonderful. And I am so glad because we all should. I want to actually run you through some statistics. Your chances of winning mega millions is 1 in 302 million. Your chances of winning Powerball are 1 in 292 million. So play that one. Your chances are better. Your chances of being struck by lightning, 1 in 500,000, which sounds like it's really possible we might get struck by lightning. So be really careful in the store. Your chances of being here alive on this earth right now are 1 in 400 trillion with a T. Trillion, 400 trillion. So just to put that into perspective, a billion is 1,000,000 times 1,000, and a trillion is 1 billion times 1,000. I don't even think I know how to count that high, really. So it's unbelievable. You are amazing. You are special. You're here for a reason. So you have to appreciate the fact and be grateful for the fact that of all the situations, your grandparents meeting, your parents meeting when they did, being conceived when you did, being here now is a true blessing. And forget about being born. How about being here with me right now? This is like staggering the odds. So that's awesome. And that's why I'm grateful. Buddha actually put it like this. He said, if you think about your chances of being here, being alive, if you take a life preserver, like those round, blown up life preservers, and toss it into one of the oceans, and then think about the turtle, and a sea turtle swimming around in any of the oceans, and his head popping up through the middle of that life preserver on the very first try, that's your chances of being alive. Huge. So let's just take for a second our gratefulness for being here and say, yay. Okay, so what I want to talk to you now is the fact that now more than ever, it's important for us to bring gratitude and happiness into our lives. The statistic is that today there are 400 times the antidepressants prescribed than was 20 years ago. 400 times the antidepressants. So what we have to do is learn how to heal ourselves with everything that we're capable of doing so that we can bring that number down a little bit. The challenge, however, is that knowing is not half the battle. Have you ever heard that expression? Knowing's half the battle? It's not true. So what I want you to do is picture a marina. There's a big wall in front of the marina, and there's a door. Behind that wall is a maze, and then there's the edge of the water where the boat is, okay? If you think about opening that door, that's the awareness. That's knowing. It's not half the battle. It's just the beginning. So now what we have to do is we have to work through that maze. And I wanted to use a boat in the water as our destination because that means that's just the beginning of the journey, right? They say that more people die coming down from Mount Everest than going up. And the reason is because their end goal is to reach the top, which is a great goal. But what happens is that it doesn't end there. Our life is fluid. It's a constant journey. So awareness is opening the door. The maze is the discipline that we have to put on ourselves in order to just start the journey of life. So I want to talk about a book called The Slight Edge. The Slight Edge from Jeff Olson. And if you've ever read it, awesome, you know what I'm talking about. But if not, I want to talk about how our daily behaviors impact where we end up. We talked before about perspective, but I want to talk about direction. And if you're a golfer, you know that if your angle is off just a tiny bit and you're 5 feet from the hole, you're going to miss the hole. So by just taking our lives and shifting a tiny bit in our direction, we can have a completely different destination. And what he talks about is that we all know how to change our lives. We all know how to be successful. We all know how to lose weight. We all know how to bring happiness into our lives. But what happens is that we start this journey because we are motivated. We're excited, and it's very easy when we're excited about something to do it, right? But then what happens is that the hard work begins. And when the hard work begins, which is that maze, we get discouraged. So that discipline is these daily behaviors. And the way that we become successful is by doing these behaviors every single day. It's about creating new habits. But if you think about success, and so he explains it in the book, is that you do what's necessary every single day, making so many calls to a client or going on client calls or doing your specific activities that need to be done to reach a goal. And then you reach the goal. And then what happens? Well, you've reached the goal. So you stop doing those activities. But then what happens? You fall backwards. So the goal is to create these daily behaviors, these new habits, in order to bring us through life to be consistent in constantly reaching for what we're looking for. People have the idea that feelings lead to thoughts that lead to habits. So for example, I don't feel like working out, so I don't work out. We allow our feelings to control our habits. But the truth is, what we need to do is reverse that. Take our habits, turn them into our behaviors, right? So that become a habit. It's going to be a behavior that we change so that we can change our feelings. So for example, I get up, I don't want to work out, but I do it anyhow. I've decided that the behavior is going to change. I'm going to do it. Now, if you've ever worked out, you know that about 10 minutes in, you're feeling pretty good. Even if you don't feel good during the workout, how do you feel afterwards? You feel empowered. You feel amazing. So your behavior actually changes your feeling. So that leads us to how gratitude is going to affect and benefit our lives. So we're going to start with feelings. So in a study by Robert E. Emmons, he's a researcher, and he studied the link between gratitude and well-being. And what he learned was that gratitude was scientifically proven to reduce toxic emotions. These are emotions like envy, resentment, regret. We've had these feelings before, right? When you're feeling those feelings, you're not in a good place, right? It's tough. Your energy is down. You can't move on. So by practicing and consciously counting your blessings, it proved that people tend to be happier. So again, changing the behavior to be conscious about finding that silver lining reduced the toxic emotions. It actually made people feel better, and it improved physiological health. Well, what's physiological health? Physiological health is your body. Have you ever been angry? Of course you have, right? When you get angry, you get tense, right? You get your blood pressure, you can feel it building. Your muscles get really tense. You just get tight. If you take a beat, you look for that silver lining, you can actually increase happiness and decrease depression. You can change physically your physiological health. This is amazing. So we are able to heal our own body. So I did read, I'm just looking at my notes, that the act of searching for something positive, so searching for that silver lining, actually has as much of an effect positively than if you actually found something. So maybe you can't find something positive, but just by trying to find something positive, it puts that positivity into your body, and it actually releases serotonin, which is a feel-good hormone, and it makes you feel better. So these are ways that we can actually control our happiness. I want to take the next lesson and turn it into the action of gratitude. This is basically what your mama taught you. So when you were a kid, did you learn about manners? Did you learn to say thank you? Of course you did. But what happens is that these days we do the old, okay, you know what that means, thanks. People don't know. So in this touch-free world especially, by putting the actual words thank you out there, this is a study in 2014 by Emotion. They said simply by using your manage, simply by saying the words thank you to a stranger or a new acquaintance, they are more likely to seek an ongoing relationship with you. This is business, guys. This is networking. Just by simply saying thank you, they are going to try to connect with you. So you've heard the expression, you catch more flies with honey than you do with vinegar, right? Let me ask you a question. Have you ever been walking down the street and somebody's walking the other way and they smile? What do? You smile. Joy is contagious. You just smile. Is anybody smiling back at me right now? You just have to. How about laughter? You hear people laughing, they're laughing. You don't know what they're laughing about, but you end up laughing. It's contagious. Just like negativity is contagious, positivity is contagious. So guys, do your parents a favor and start using the manners that they taught you and say thank you so that you can verbalize how you're feeling. I'm just going to read this. It says that if you express and receive gratitude, which again, is contagious, so it will happen, your brain releases dopamine and serotonin. Now, these are the neurotransmitters that actually physically make you feel better. So you are changing your chemical makeup just by being grateful and joyous and spreading that happiness. So I highly suggest you do it. The last thing I'm going to share with you today is in the study of the Journal for Applied Sports Psychology. Well, how does gratitude have anything to do with sports, you ask? Well, the answer is that it is the optimal component. The optimal component in performance is self-esteem. So in this study, it showed that those that practiced gratitude. Now, I do want to say that practice doesn't make perfect, but perfect practice does. So this is something, again, we're going to incorporate it into our lives so that we can make it part of our lives. It's something that we consciously have to focus on. So those that practiced gratitude had a reduction in social comparisons, insecurities, and jealousy. Have you ever felt those things before? I have. Wouldn't it be wonderful to be able to improve our self-esteem simply by appreciating others' gifts? Yeah, they're totally good at ABC. I appreciate that. Maybe I can learn from that. Now I can feel good about my gifts, CDE, right? Listen, appreciate other people's gifts so that you can raise your self-esteem and be able to have optimal performance in whatever it is that you do, professionally, personally, sports-wise. This is a proven study that can help us to get to that next step in our lives. So today, we're going to wrap up our program with me putting out there a call to action. I'm going to ask you to do something. Yep, this is not going to be an easy thing. Once a month, I'm going to give you information. I'm going to share how this information could impact your personal or professional life. And then I'm going to ask you to put it into practice. So today's call to action is going to be actually something I learned in college. It's an affirmation. And the affirmation is be here now. It's just kind of that simple thing. It is about finding the silver lining of where you are in this moment. So if you have a situation that isn't exactly what you want it to, what can you find that's positive? Maybe you're stuck in traffic. Nobody likes being stuck in traffic. But if you're there, what can you do about it? Nothing. So take a minute, look around. Maybe you'll have some beautiful scenery. Maybe you'll have an opportunity to listen to some awesome music or listen to a podcast or just think. Maybe you have a busy, hectic house that is, never quiet. And now you have time to just be alone. So at any given moment over the next month, I'm asking for you to put into play, be here now. What can I take from this moment to help me to have positivity? So confirmation bias is actually a thing that if you put a thought into your mind, into the frontal lobe, it's actually going to attract whatever it is you're thinking about. For example, have you ever bought a new car? You ever bought a car and then all of a sudden you see that car everywhere? It's everywhere. How did I not see this before? It's always been there, but right now it's here. So because it's here, that's what you're picking up on. So if you choose, you make the conscious decision because you've opened up that gate and you're working through that maze of discipline of putting that conscious positive thought into your brain, it's going to lead you to more positivity. It's going to bring it to you. So guys, this is today's session. It's the debut session of Building You, where what we focus on is building you. And I hope that there was some content that you found valuable. If you feel like there's anybody that you know, personally or professionally, that could benefit from developing their person so they can spread it to everybody else first, I encourage you to share this with them, to tell them about it. And I would love to see you next month on the next series program.